Hi guys, it's the Viking and welcome back to Movies That Matter. I finally got to check out Superman Man of Tomorrow. It was released about a month ago and I didn't get a chance to watch it, but finally today I had a few hours and I said I'd give it a look and see what all the talk was about. Now this is directed by Chris Palmer. Chris Palmer does a lot of animated stuff. He's worked on a lot of animated shows and movies, but this is actually his first film to direct, so we won't be too harsh on him. Now, the story follows Clark Kent. He's working for the Daily Planet. He's in Metropolis. He's away from Smallville, and of course, threats start coming to the city in form of a parasite. We got Lobo, and Lex Luthor also plays a part. Now, this cast is actually of a high Hollywood standard in terms of their popularity. We've got Alexandra Daddario playing Lois Lane, Zachary Quinto plays Lex Luthor, David Christ plays Superman, and we've also got Neil Flynn, of course, the janitor from Scrubs. He is playing Jonathan Kent. Brett Dalton plays Parasite. So we've got a lot of actors in this film who have been in big things and have worked in many animated features. Now, let's get to the film. The animation style is a lot different from any DC film that we've seen in the last few years, especially from the DC animated universe with the Flashpoint, Justice League Dark, Apocalypse War, that kind of animated style. I like that style very much. So this style was kind of a different, and you know what? At the end of the day, it's not too bad. It's not my favorite animation style, but it didn't put me off or anything like that. It worked well for the story that they were trying to tell. Now, what I found interesting about this film is that it actually changes a bit of the lore for Superman. It changes a bit of the backstory, gives him new kind of story that we haven't seen before. And look, I have never been a really big fan of Superman. When I got into Superman was because of Man of Steel. Zack Snyder's interpretation of the character really got me into the character big time. And a lot of the elements in the older films I didn't really like, and this film kind of changes up a bit of that origin story. This is a Superman, this is a Clark Kent who isn't Superman yet. He's not fallen in love with Lois Lane. He's not this savior for the world. He's not a part of the Justice League. He doesn't know any of those people. So it's basically an origin story of Superman, and we get to see a little bit of flashes of his childhood growing up, dealing with him having these abilities, not exactly knowing where he has come from, why he is here. He doesn't know that he's Kryptonian. He doesn't know that his parents sent him here because Krypton was dying. He doesn't really know any of that, so he's kind of lost in that term of who he is. He wants to be a reporter, and he's very intrigued of being a reporter and finding scoops. That's why he kind of gets some advice off Lois Lane. He looks to her kind of as a role model in a way to act as a journalist. But very much, he doesn't even have a suit, so he has to do a few things. And there actually is some similarities to Batman versus Superman Dawn of Justice. There's a scene where Lex Luthor is putting a rocket into space. That goes wrong, and then Superman has to save that rocket before it hits the city. So that was kind of a throwback to Batman vs Superman, where he caught the Russian rocket spaceship and flown it into Earth, or just stopped it exploding around the city. There's also the fight scene between Superman and Lobo is actually probably the best scene of the film. It's really well done. It's very graphic. There's some big hits and there's some good banter, especially from Lobo, who I forgot to say is played by Ryan Hurst. Ryan Hurst, of course, was in Sons of Anarchy. He was Beta in The Walking Dead. Very good actor, very intimidating actor, and his voice was great for the character of Lobo, and I would definitely love to see him portray the character again, or even in live action, he would actually be pretty good. But yeah, so the fight scene between them two was actually brilliant. The banter from Lobo, and it was very similar to Man of Steel, the fight between Superman and General Zod, or Superman and the other Kryptonians. It was very graphic, very physical, and there was some big hits on both sides. So that was very good. The main villain for this film is Parasite. You can see him in the picture here now. It's basically a human who's been taken over by a parasite, and it turns him into this kind of alien that feeds off power of cells and off people and just energy. And the villain's okay. You know, we get to see a bit of his backstory. He meets Clark Kent before he becomes the parasite, and the villain is okay. It's not the best thing about this film. It could have been a lot better. I didn't really care for the characters that much in this film. I didn't. Clark Kent had some nice qualities that I liked, but overall, I didn't care too much for the stakes that were being told. And maybe that's because it's the first time we've seen this character, or maybe they just didn't show us enough backstory of Clark Kent dealing with being Superman and having these powers. And I will say, even though we have seen that before in many interpretations of the character, doing it again might have been a bit repetitive and a bit boring, but I would have liked to see a little bit more of it. And also, I have to say big applause to the filmmaker from the writers of this film, because they changed elements of Superman's story. And even though I don't agree with all the elements that they chose, I respect them because they tried something new. And there's no point in trying the same thing over and over again, given the same interpretation of Superman or Clark Kent that we've got in the past. It's good to try something new, to bring something different to the lore, and I appreciate that they tried to do this, especially with Lois Lane. She's not this kind of sweet type. She's kind of full of herself. She thinks she's the best. She thinks she can do anything that she wants. And I like the element that Clark hasn't really fallen in love with her yet. Perry is pretty good in this as well. He's very funny. But overall, it's a good film to watch. The anime style might put you off, but the fight scenes are good enough to really engage you into this kind of world that they're trying to build. They could have given a bit more reasoning behind Lex Luthor's plans. You know, he kind of goes behind people's back to get the grant for the rocket to be put into space. He just kind of turns bad near the end of the film. For what reason, I don't really know. So they could have shown a little bit more of him, and his character was likable, but they just could have showed a little bit more why he wanted to act the way he did in the film. But the interaction between him and Clark was pretty good, because the two of them were working together for a little bit, and then Lobo. So the three of them were kind of working together for a good part of the film to defeat Parasite. And then, of course, Superman had to go on his own, because you can never trust a villain. They'll always try and turn on you in some capacity. Martian Manhunter makes an appearance in this film as well. At the start, he's a human who's just following around Clark Kent, so we don't really know who it is. My guess was that it was going to be Martian Manhunter, and it was him. At the start, we get to see him. He turns into more kind of a gross alien. So I was like, is that Martian Manhunter? What are they trying to do here? But then that was just another form of him, his kind of shape shifting. But he had a good role in the film, and you actually think he's about to die as well in one of the scenes, and it looks like he did, but he comes back near the end to help Superman. And Superman shows him that we can't hide away forever. You can't stay in the shadows of humanity. You have to come out at some stage. You have to be an inspiration for people. You have to be a sign of hope. And that's exactly what this Superman discovers throughout the film. He's not afraid anymore to defend people, to save people, to put himself out there. And he even gets his suit from his mother. She makes it out of the clothing or the cloth that he came with when he was a baby, and she makes a pretty good suit. I like the suit, even with the red trunks on the outside. So this film, I definitely give it a check out. It's not really connected to any other DC animated films. It's trying to be its own thing. Will it get sequels? I think it's set up a lot of things to make sequels, and I think it's set up a lot to have its own world. There is references to Batman, and that's kind of where his inspiration of wearing a cape comes from. That's where he gets it from, and that's also where his mother Martha Kent gets it from. So they could expand this world even more, maybe even create a Justice League, but we've already seen that before in the past. I would be very interested though, because the writers and the director of this film, they tried something new, and they brought different elements, kind of having not I liked how they didn't have that love dynamic between Clark and Lois. They tried something new. His origin story was a little bit different as well, him not knowing where he comes from. Martian Manhunter was a little bit different as well, but I would actually be really intrigued if they tried to set up a kind of a Batman versus Superman world, and let them have a go of Batman seeing what Superman has caused, this destruction around Metropolism, and Batman has to take down Superman in his eyes. Now, they don't have to copy what Zack Snyder did, but do something unique and do something different. Bring different elements in it. Try something new. I'd be very intrigued, because I like how they tried different things. They took risks. They didn't copy anything else before. They did their own thing, but I would like to see their take on a Batman versus Superman-esque Superman Man of Tomorrow. The title is pretty cool. The poster is also pretty cool. But this film is good. Definitely check it out, guys. Let me know your thoughts if you have seen this film before. I liked it. I did like it. It wasn't my favorite animated style. I think Justice League Dark Apocalypse War was an absolutely brilliant one, and that's very hard to beat. But I did enjoy this all the same. Guys, in a world where there's a pandemic, there's not that much content coming out, so enjoy the stuff while we can. Give a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time, guys. Thank you.